Assalamualaikum. I'm your host Tabassum Prome, and I'm back. I'm back in company from Bertho, our fifth episode of Ichi-go Ichi-e. It's been a while, hasn't it? It feels really great to be back and have you all here with what have you been busy with lately? Basically, how's life? Well, I've been busy with studies and stuff. Well, when you let us know, meanwhile, I'll let you know now that I'm present here with you with another new episode, episode 5, just like I've said, of the second season of Ichi-go Ichi-e. Ichi-go Ichi-e, our live series where we invite initiators, activists, and instructors from all over the world to join us virtually and keep you, our audience, engaged with valuable discussions and skill-based sessions. This project is brought to you by Team Bertho and Youth Exchange South to South Yes Girls Movement. Team Bertho is an organization where we aim to document the understanding of life through people's learning and pass them on to you people and everyone else as an innovative, creative, and effective solution for everyone to live their best life. In case if you're wondering, and even though most of you know already, Ichi-go Ichi-e is a Japanese four-character idiom which describes as treasuring the unrepeatable nature of a moment. Ichi-go Ichi is usually translated as for this time only and once in a lifetime, just like each of the moments we live is a once in a lifetime moment. And just like each episode of Ichi-go Ichi is indeed a once in a lifetime moment. And we do not remember days, we remember moments, like the way we talked about this in our previous lives. We always keep talking about this. And we've also discussed in our previous lives that even the smallest person can change the course of the future and become the hugest person you could ever imagine. And they just put so much impact on other people's lives and help them to shine through their course of life. Well, become a light in the darkness and light up everyone around you and empower everyone around you, obviously. So, the guest we have here with us today is the founder of The Starving Artist. Well, that kind of reminds me of The Hunger Artist, written by Franz Kafka. Okay, anyways, she is the founder of The Starving Artist, which is an artist initiative that broadens perspectives on eating disorders and mental illness through the artistic voice. She's also a university lecturer, and her PhD is with the University of Southern Queensland. Her This Body of Mind campaign explores the migrant experiences through creative voices and has helped support individuals and artists from refugee seeking backgrounds globally. This absolute icon has received the highest accolade as a young person can achieve for the humanitarian work. The Princess Diana Legacy Award 2021, and also a special recognition from the British Citizen Award 2022 are just one of the notable things she has received. So this is huge, people. So without further ado, coming to us with the topic, authenticity and vulnerability in activism, please welcome our guest speaker today, Ally Zlatar.
Oh, hi there, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Oh, perfect.
It's an absolute honor to have you here too. And also, before we begin, since we have such a huge person with us, the Diana Legacy Award, that's no joke. So, before we begin with your session, we actually have a tiny little present for you, which is actually a song, which will be presented by Lavi Babinda Khalid.
Hello,
Hi
good
there.
evening.
Nice
Hi
to meet
there.
you.
Hi, Ali. Hi, Promi.
Hi, so how have you been?
I've been good, actually. How have you been?
Same, been nice, ups and downs.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you, Team Bertho. Thank you, Promi. I'm back again with a new song called Broken Coastline. I hope you like it. I'm gonna start it. Okay. I've been driving broken coastline, holding on to every everything I want. I've been driving to make this all mine, pushing faster before the light's gone. For a while now, day's been breaking colder. There's a wild wind driving me on. All this time has made me feel older, pushing faster before the fire's gone. Would you know me if I walk through your doorway? Would you hold me like I've done before? Will there be a place for me if I can drive anymore? If I can drive anymore, if I can drive anymore. Thank you.
That was amazing. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
literally have no words right now.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you were so
that
talented.
was a really good beginning. Like, I'm all refreshed up and everything, and I hope Ally is too.
Oh yeah, I mean, this really ties into the stuff I'm going to be talking about because this song was so authentic and so vulnerable, and I'm just so touched, and that ties in really well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so without further ado, let's pass on the stage. Well, it's not a stage, it's a platform since it's online.
Same thing.
Anyways, I'll pass over the platform to you. Good luck with your speech, Ally.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. So for those of you guys that have joined us, just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Ally Zlatar. I'm an artist and activist. Currently, I'm in sunny Scotland right now. And today I'll just go over a bit about my work, but then also kind of those core messages behind it. So how can we be more authentic and vulnerable in our activism? All right, so let's just get started. And I believe you guys have my slides. Oh, perfect. Could you start from... Oh yeah, you get all the sneak peeks. But right, so so today we're going to be talking about the starving artist and really looking at mental health through this artistic lens and looking at how a different perspective can really help shine light on some of these neglected aspects of these conversations that we need to have surrounding mental health. Sorry, next slide, please. So my backstory is that for such a long time, I thought if I was thinner, I would be happier. And instead, the opposite occurred, and I really became confined to my body with an eating disorder that lasted over 10 years. And for myself, I found it extremely difficult. First off, just the internal struggles that I was going through. I didn't have a safe and supportive outlet to go through and discuss these experiences. I come from a very Eastern European family where mental health was not talked about at all. And then my experience with medical help and treatment teams, they saw me as a diagnosis, and they didn't see me as a person suffering from a disease. So really, the lived-in experience was unbearable because nobody understood that inner torment that I was going through. Now, my position as an artist and activist is really trying to authentically represent the lived-in experience of mental health in order to foster more, I think, impactful conversations. But yes, next slide, please. So the Starving Artist itself, like we have mentioned already, it's an artist initiative that's really trying to explore the lived-in experience of mental health illnesses. It starts off with eating disorders and body dysmorphia, but it's really expanded from there. The main work that I've done is both creating artistic research and seeing that art is a great form for communication, but then also tons of public engagement activities such as exhibitions, workshops, talks, and even collaborations with medical treatment teams and educational institutes to really enlighten the public on the reality of living with an eating disorder. And we're using art as that origin to help broaden perspectives. All right, next slide, please. So when we think of eating disorders, there's two very main and stereotypical views that we have. The first one on the left is somebody who is the one that's very put forward in media. It's a thin Caucasian female, and she is not eating. It's very much the one that we see on TV shows like Insatiable or To the Bone. And it's very, very stereotypical. Eating disorders are not a teen girl trying to lose weight for prom, eating carrot sticks and working out on a treadmill. It's someone suffering from a disease. And then on the other end, on the other end of the spectrum, the other view that we often get is someone who's large and they have a lack of control around food, and this is seen as gluttonous. But these are the two perspectives that are always shown with eating disorders. I think this is a terrible, terrible way to view any mental health illness, let alone eating disorders, because it's very limited. We both see it's a female. We see somebody who is predominantly white. We don't see intersectionalities of other disabilities or other mental health conditions. We don't see any consideration of age or socioeconomic class. Why is it eating disorders that have this very limited and often vain view of what it's like living with a mental health illness when many others like depression or anxiety are so generalized? Right, can you go to the next slide? So yes, these are some of the main issues that we're looking at in the work of the Starving Artist. First off, counteracting that stereotypical representation. Often it's done through outsider perspectives. So mainstream media has really dictated what eating disorders are like, and very few people who have eating disorders are included in these conversations. And then there's also a strong focus on the physical body. So eating disorders are a mental health illness. There's a mind-body dualism at play. So we need to also focus on the external and internal experiences to better understand it. So what my work tries to do is counteract all these bad narratives that are being put forward and really just try to shine light on what it's actually like to endure the depths of this mental health illness. I really try to look at how weight has had its impact on our psyches, but then also trying to provide a broader context into what it's like living with an eating disorder. Sorry, next slide. So these are just some of my artworks. I think the first off thing I'd like to mention is the fact that when we have conversations in our daily life, often it's very, very limited, and we don't always understand the depths behind what people are struggling with. If someone says, I feel sad, or I couldn't get out of bed, we have an idea of what it's like, but we don't understand and we don't feel what they're going through. So in these artworks, I really just try to show that authenticity and vulnerability within struggle, to show that, yes, this is what it's like. You can barely get out of bed, you're crippling, and you're really just trying to hang on. And it's hard. It's genuinely hard. But that's why we need to have these conversations and be vulnerable in our struggles to share it with other people. Next slide. So this one's a little bit on a lighter note. It's called Euphoria, and this is just to better help understand with eating disorders and really just counteract those main images and ideas of eating disorders. These artworks are based off of experience of mine when I was at a point in my life where work was just chaotic, school was just draining, my family life was a mess, and the only thing that got me through the days was just coming home at the end of work and just having a whole box of Cheerios. I found comfort in food, and it helped me escape what I was feeling with and dealing with. It provided me like this outer body experience and helped me escape through the power of Cheerios, which is just a cereal. And that's kind of one way to view eating disorders, as a coping mechanism. but then also just looking at the struggle where food was the only form of safety that I had. When I couldn't control the world around me, I sought control within the stuff that I had power over, and that was with food. Oh, sorry, next slide, please. So the next artworks that I want to talk about are called Popping Pills and Popping Bills, and this is just trying to cope with the external pressure that people are put through. When it comes to diet culture, we're constantly blasted in the media with try to buy some diet pills here, try to buy some fat loss pills, get some green tea pills, get metabolism pills. And then on the other hand, there's mental health pills. You know, you need some for anxiety, and then you need some for depression. And then soon you got to take more pills because you can't cope with all these pills that you need to take. So you really just become consumed and just suffocating in all these external voices. And soon you start to sink and drown within it, and you lose yourself in the process. Next slide, please. So I just want to share some of the impacts of the work that I've been doing. So the first one is a picture of myself when I got to meet Prince William. He's actually very, very tall in person, and he's a very big mental health advocate. The projects and work I've done has been all over the world. So it's been in countries like Canada, Netherlands, Fiji, and then on the far right, it's in Nanjing, China. So I really just want to show that this is a global issue, and just trying to iterate how important it is that we have a diversity of experiences and a diversity of voices being represented, because everyone has a relationship with food, and it's very, very complex and really needs to be taken care of more authentically. Next slide, please. So some of the key things I really want you to take away from my work as a whole: when we have conversations about mental health, or whether it be politics or literally anything, I think we shouldn't shy away from using art in these conversations. Art is a very powerful tool to help provide us insight in a safe and supportive way. But then also, it's a great way to express ideas that may not be able to be articulated as well as others. The next key point I'd like to mention is that we should handle mental health conversations and just the subject as a whole with the utmost care and compassion it needs. I think often, especially with eating disorders, it's been very limited and very surface level, and people have not been understanding that it's someone suffering from a disease. And when we are trying to teach and help somebody with some illness, such as an eating disorder, we need to have the utmost care and sensitivity behind it. And then I think this is just a very, very important one to mention, is that those who have had struggles, whether it be with eating disorders, alcohol addiction, diabetes, whatever it is, those people with lived-in experience need to be able to contribute to their recovery and to their treatment. These are the best experts in the subject because they've lived through it, and they know what they need and the tools that they require to recover and live a better life. And then the last thing I'd like to mention is that mental illnesses do not make us disabled. Often people are labeled with a sticker that says you have an eating disorder, you have depression, whatever it is, it shouldn't be a disabling factor. I hope that through my work, I can show you guys that just because I have an eating disorder, it doesn't mean I'm not still able to effectively contribute to the conversations, and also to healthcare systems, to policy. These are the experts in our field. We need to make sure that we get these voices heard. And can I have the next slide, please? Now, this is where I really think activism is important for you guys. Whatever your passion is, it should be guiding your work. For me, I found my voice through art, but let your passions try to guide the way you want to engage with other people. I think it's more authentic because you're able to share something personal that means a lot to you and be able to engage with someone in a more, I think, heartfelt way. And that's really at the core of authenticity, is just being genuine and being yourself. So whether it be baking, poetry, singing, sports, whatever it is, just let that guide the way you approach life and approach activism as a whole. I think one key thing, if you want to be more vulnerable and authentic, is by using your personal journeys and your own voices to make a difference in our conversations. You guys have these powerful backstories, and like us all, we can use it to make a difference. And I think just the last note on that is, in whatever you do, I think you should be as vulnerable and authentic as possible, especially in an age of social media where everyone expects you to be okay and be the top of your game. It's okay to admit that you're struggling. It's okay to admit that many days may not be great days, but it's important because it helps us bond with people and then allows for stronger and more effective communication. But yeah, so thank you guys so much. I do see that there's lots of questions in the chat, so I can start going through some of these.
Yeah, I am back to help you out with that. But before that, let me tell you something, which is, no, let me actually ask you a question. That eating disorder is usually either stress eating or not eating due to stress, right? So when you see someone not eat enough due to excessive stress, for example, when someone is going through final examinations, or maybe someone who has a job is working on a promotion and stuff. So when they don't eat enough or eat too much due to their stress, would you like consider it as a growing symptom of a probable eating disorder? And what would be the solution to that?
So that's a really good point you make. Stress is a large contributor to many mental health disorders. I think for eating disorders, though, it's a warning sign. It's not the only factor that should be considered for an eating disorder, but I'm going to say stress and the relationship to food should be an indicator of disordered eating behaviors. So if you know that you're somebody that when exams come, you lock yourself in your room and you just want to focus the whole entire time and not eat, you should try to be able to think of behaviors to help with that. So maybe bring some snacks in, or maybe think of like taking breaks and strategies. If stress is the overarching factor, you're trying to either use eating as a coping mechanism either way. So try to look at alternatives to that. So try to think of solutions. Eating disorders are very complex and they manifest in different ways for different people, but just keep in mind how stress may impact your relationship.
Okay, that was actually very informative and helpful. And like I have seen in your slide that Cheerios, you found your comfort in Cheerios, and there are a lot of people who find their comfort in one specific food, and sometimes they get addicted to it. I don't know if addicted is the correct term here, but I'll just use the word addiction since I can't find any better word for this. So what would be like the warning signs that I am depending on this particular food too much, not on overall eating, just that particular food or drink? So, what are
Yeah.
the warning signs for that?
I mean, I think it can become a warning sign when it's, I would say, an intrusive thought. Like it's one that just pops up in your head all the time saying, I wish I was like Cheerios were my thing for a couple weeks, but then it became cake, and cake has been my favorite food for like years and years. And there's been points where I'm like, I just want to go home and I want to eat cake. When the thought of food becomes too consuming and it really impacts the other aspects of your life, that's a huge red sign. And just trying to make sure that you have a balanced and healthy relationship. If the food thoughts become way more important and just living your life according to food, that's a big warning sign.
Okay, so that is actually a very understandable fact. And we have a comment right here. Mubashir Ishika commented that cooking around 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning always works for me as a stress reliever. I can't cook, but I kind of get what she's trying to explain. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, like not everybody has an eating disorder. Whatever way that you try to have a positive relationship with food is the best way to go about it. For me, I like having like the best lunch ever. I hate having like meals in the morning, but if you guys find what works best for you and you have a healthy balance and you can use food as a way to find joy in life and not be the cause of your anxieties and depression, then I think that's an amazing thing to do. I'm also a terrible cook, so props on you for being able to do it at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Okay, we have another question. What is your definition of being an activist?
Oh, I think for me, what my definition is trying to be an advocate in any way, shape, or form. In the way that I interpret activism is trying to be an agent of change and trying to not only just be an inspiration to other people through sharing my voice and my experiences, but trying to get involved in any way, shape, or form to make that change possible. Being an activist isn't just someone being a talking head and, telling people how to make the world better. You have to be involved and try to make as much impact as possible.
Exactly. That is actually a very, what can I say? A very accurate definition, if you put it that way. Okay, another question we have here is, if I know you really well, what would I know about you?
Ooh.
That's a really smart question, actually.
Yeah, no, I love these questions. I think for me, I love philosophy. I'm a philosophy teacher, and so if you guys know me really well, I would just spend hours just talking about philosophy and the meaning of life. And other than that, like I said, I'm a cake connoisseur, and I love cake, and I travel the world to just find the best cakes possible. So those are 2 fun facts about me.
Well, I also love cake, but I specifically love chocolate cakes.
Oh
Chocolate cakes
no,
make me
red
so happy.
velvet.
Well, red velvet is also nice. I love that too.
Mhm.
Okay, another question is, what would be the title and the last line of your autobiography if you were to write one at this point of time?
So I've actually written 3 books, and so the first one's called The Starving Artist, and it's looking at 25 international artists and their experiences with eating disorders. And the next 2 are about my own personal experiences with eating disorders and trauma through art. My title of my autobiography, I think, still resonates with me, and it's called The Starving Artist. The last line, I think on the back of my book, I wrote, being an artist means forever exposing your wounds while trying to heal them at the same time. And I think that really resonates with me. And I think that's probably the last line that I leave. I leave often with people, just realizing that that's what art's all about.
So the autobiography, if you were to write one,
Would
no,
be the
you've
exact
already
one
written
I
one.
did.
You're already done with that. And I am definitely gonna look up your books and go through them because I'm such a huge book person. And if I ever hear that someone I know has a book, then I'm like, I've got to read this.
I'll send it
So
in the
I'm
chat so someone can look it up afterwards.
definitely. Okay, our next question is, what does the world need according to you?
Oh, so many different things. But I think the most important thing is empathy. The fact that so many people are living their lives intrinsically selfish and they have all these tools and resources to help others, but they choose not to, is one of those things that I think is really lacking. Even just people living our daily life and seeing someone struggling, we're so focused on ourselves, we don't always understand and be able to help other people. So by really just being more empathetic, we can help make more change at a larger scale.
True that, because people are going through, like, individually, they're going through a lot of stuff, and there are other people who are going through those same things too. So a helping hand wouldn't hurt. And a lot of people just don't choose to do that because I don't know why. They might have different explanations for that. But lending a helping hand to the people who are going through the same thing you're going through, there's a different kind of comfort in that. Like, knowing in your heart that you're being able to help the person who's going through the same thing as you, that definitely is something that would help your heart to go through whatever you're going through. Like basically survive.
Exactly. Yeah, and even if you don't go through and experience the same thing as someone else, you're better able to support them because you understand their struggle. And I think that's what we need is just empathy to help build like communities to help people.
Exactly. Thank you so much for these feedbacks, and they were actually very thoughtful and touching. And definitely thank you so much for having us. And the Starving Artist, amazing initiative, and I really loved it. And you've actually prepared slides, and that was really appealing. And I'm a visual learner in a lot of cases, and I loved like listening to you while hearing those slides. So that was an amazing session. Thank you so much for coming so prepared like this, even though for a short session.
Oh, don't
We're actually
worry.
very much honored. Thank you so much.
Well,
So
thank you all. And I was going to say, please keep in touch if you guys are just in like want to learn more about art and activism or eating disorders or just want to follow up on anything. I'm more than happy to chat. So thank you guys.
definitely, if you have any like Facebook and Instagram page, we're gonna like knock you and get
Oh,
connected.
perfect. Oh, thank you guys.
Okay, so before ending, we actually have another song for you because the beginning was with the song, so what's the harm in ending with another one? But before that, a closing question is, what do you think about teamwork?
Teamwork makes the dream work. I know that's the cheesy saying, but it's so important because as much as we try to do things on our own, it can only get so far. So really just using the strengths of everyone's like talents and resources to make things possible can happen at much larger scales and really just I think can make really great impact. So teamwork is yes essential.
But teamwork is the dream work is one of my favorite quotes, and it's also my best friend's one of his favorite quotes. So I really liked it that you brought it up. Okay, so stay in touch, obviously, and also stay in touch with Team Bertho because we really love your initiative and you're such a queen and icon I can't even begin to describe. So thank you so much for having us, and we're gonna close off with a song right now. So let's bring in Laviva again.
Hi again.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm gonna sing Exile by Taylor Swift and say goodbye to you all. I can see you standing, honey, with his arms around your body, laughing, but the joke's not funny at all. And it took you 5 whole minutes, pack us up and leave me with it.
I think because of some technical difficulties, we could hear half of the song. No worries, we could hear half of it though. Like if you see the glass half filled rather than half empty, that would be nice. Okay, we'll just like wait for a sec because she might be back. But before that, actually, let's ask you another question, which is like, what do you think about Team Bertho, our organization in particular?
Oh,
Like,
I
what
love
would you like
it.
to it? What would you like emit from it? Any kind of thoughts?
I really think that you guys, you have such a strong core message, and the way that you communicate these values through the people that you collaborate with and the way that you approach, I think just making these resources accessible for people is remarkable. And I wish that like you guys have Team Berthos all over the world, because it's just so impactful, and we need more community spirit like this.
Thank you so much. It's actually an honor to hear that from you. Well, Laviva is back.
Hi, I'm sorry for the technical issue though. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're completely audible now.
Okay. I'm gonna start beginning again. Okay. I see you standing, honey, with his arms around.
I think that technical difficulty happened again. Oh gosh, this internet issue. Okay, since we can't hear her, well, that's a little bit of a letdown, but let's just keep the first song we heard and the half part we heard in our mind, and let's just pull the curtain here. Again, Ally, thank you so much for being here. Even though I've said that 1,000 times, I always say thank you or sorry way too much, and I say thank you to my guests a lot.
Same thing, but
You
but
totally
again,
deserve
now
it.
thank you guys for having me, and thank you all. Like, such been a wonderful audience as well, and please do keep in touch. And you all have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much. All right, so we'll pull the curtain here. Thank you to our audience for being here with us to go through with us the whole session. And yeah, another thank you. Well, if I don't end here, I'm gonna end up saying thank you 1,000 times more. So let's just end here. Love yourself, love myself, peace.